you and I both have been in some of the same projects, and we've been in a situation where the problem was nobody knew anything. You know what? There seems to be some scientific research done within the field of the differences between men and women. And it shows that women are predominantly interested in other people, and men are predominantly interested in things. And if you want to become an engineer, you have to be really interested in things and not in people. So here we are, engineers, interested in things. Alas, unfortunately, we can't avoid people now and then. We can't avoid interacting with other people. That would have been so nice if we could have that. And one particular situation is if you're integrating two IT systems and you have to work together with IT people in another place or in another company. Gosh, that can be tedious. When you are doing integration of system, you have to think that into your project planning, that this is going to take a long time because you might have to explain things to people who are not interested in your problem, or who doesn't understand your problem, or who simply shouldn't be where they are, or
You're
something
cruel.
like. Yes, and maybe they hand you out a communication standard. Fine, okay, now I know how to communicate.
Yeah,
but that's not always enough. Sometimes it's enough, but I mean, if somebody has made an API and they've made a really good one, it's well documented and so on, you know, it's nice to work with, and you can just start, and you don't have to lift the phone, you know, and try to call someone who you don't know.
No.
Who are, I mean, or to send email out in, you know, cyberspace and hope that somebody will answer it, because that's often the situation, you know. You have to get hold of somebody in that other organization who knows something about this situation and who actually bothers to communicate with you.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
Yeah,
not always anyway.
They also have work to do, you know. They have a to-do list of things to do, and when you come and ask them for something related to your system, it doesn't concern them too much if their boss isn't really keen on getting this integration to work. And usually when we do integrations, it's a integration for our customer with a third party who doesn't really care that much.
Yeah, but sometimes they do care, but it doesn't make a hell of a difference anyway. I mean, you still have this.
Yeah, but then you're talking to the IT department of that business, and they might not care too much.
Yes, exactly. They don't care of me. They don't care. Yeah.
But you're right. There is also this communication issue. So if you and I were to integrate something between our two systems, then we can talk to each other and make sure that everything is sent back and forth correctly. But then we have the customer who has a wish list of things that should be included in this transaction that you and I are trying to set up. So when we set up the basic transaction, then half of the information has gone missing because maybe the customer was just expecting the information to be there. And then we have to renegotiate. So then we have 3 people, and often, as I said, we're talking to the IT department of the other business. They have a manager in their business, and we have a manager at our customers, and those managers have to be in agreement of what should be sent before we can do integration with the IT department of that business. That increases the amount of communication that can go wrong.
Chaos.
Chaos, yeah.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And it does. I mean, we see it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, it can be tedious. And then you send out something, you try to address an API or whatever in some way, you know, and you're not there on the other side to see what actually goes through. So you send an email to someone, but he was on maternity leave, so he didn't answer before 14 days later or something like that.
Yeah.
I've actually experienced that, you know,
Yeah.
in the midst of the phase that we were testing. The guy on the other side went on maternity leave.
Yeah, or on vacation. That happens all the time. Someone takes to Paris for a couple of days.
Yeah, they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
No. I've often worked with people who have an allocated day once a week or once every other week to work on my project that I'm trying to progress. And when I do my part and send it over for testing, then I'll still have to wait 2 weeks for them to kind of test it, give a reply, and send it back. And then I fix something, and then I'll have to wait additional 2 weeks before the next window that the other person has allocated time to look at this project. And that's also really tedious because you forget things. So the next time you get a reply back 2 weeks later, you have to reread everything you've done to figure out, okay, what was the problem? Where were I in this project? So that also slows the process down even more. But perhaps we could do something to alleviate some of the issues. And that's like in the beginning of a project, make sure to have a integration checklist that we can just say that, okay, have we got this covered, this covered, this covered, this covered? And then we might have less of a hurdle trying to figure out what to communicate.
Yeah, but you know, you and I both have been in some of the same projects, and we've been in a situation where the problem was nobody knew anything, except that half a year ago we had something, and now we don't have anything.
Yeah.
And you should probably ask someone in that company or in that IT department, but we don't know who you should ask. You know,
no one knows.
And it's, you know, it's a little bit difficult to make a checklist on that background.
Yeah, but the checklist is more like a standardized, because sometimes when you're in the meeting, you find out that, okay, we need to have the format that is going to be sent. We want to have the channel, or if it's an API or email or FTP or what have you. And then after a week, we figure out that, oh, we need to have login credentials as well, because we didn't ask for that in our first meeting. So, and no one thought of sending the login credentials to the FTP.
Okay, fair enough. Yes, but you can foresee. You should, of course, try to ask for as early in the project as you possibly can.
Yeah,
that's definitely true.
So that we don't start spending time on the project until we make sure that we have the majority of the information we need to complete it, because then we can do more focused work.
True, but it's still like this, you know, that after the first 3 weeks, you know, waiting for information, the customer says, okay, how hard can this be? Why aren't you progressing?
Yeah.
And anyway, it's like, well,
oh yeah, the guy was on maternity leave for 2 months. When there were no replacements, we couldn't ask anyone else.
I think that one of the issues here is that if you have a customer on a project, you better tell them very soon, if you are running into a problem, because, I mean, and we use that, and we use that all the time, very, politely sort of escalating the issues if we have problems, and try to get a fuss and call someone else's fuss, so something happens.
What would a generic kind of checklist look like? Because I think that perhaps our users are interested in having this checklist. What things have we been running into that should be in an integration agreement or document? Where do we start?
First of all, how do you call them? I mean, what's the interface? What do you call them? I mean, how do you call the interface? Where do you get information? Is it a REST API, for instance? That's one thing. Secondly, how about their firewalls? Do you need to be whitelisted to get in? Or whatever happens here. Thirdly, as you said, what are the credentials to log into the system?
Mm-hmm.
Also, and I think, okay, then if you get that kind of information, you're reasonably well helped. But then again, you come to a situation. Then what do they expect? And in the situation that we've been in, because we were, well, the situation I think, but that there were three parties, because there was us, and then there was the customers, IT department, and then there was the third party, the IT department.
Yeah.
So that makes it all the merrier, because then you send something to the third party, and you get an answer back, which goes to the IT department of your customer. Now, was that what they expected, or should you do some changes? And in this situation, okay, we got some answers into our system, and send them on, and everything was flying around from one part of the system to another, and it was hard to find out or to make an agreement exactly what is it that we're sending or receiving here, because some of it says, but might as well not send this, because we can't cope with that information in our system. We can't use it for anything.
No.
And then they send it on to the next one, says, why don't we have that information? We can't use your records for a shit, because you don't tell us this.
Yeah.
And then says, why don't we get that information? Because you bloody fucking said you couldn't. Digest it.
Yeah. So the next point is, what information should be included in the this message, and the format of the message. What format should it be? JSON or CSV or some other format? And in that case, you would also like the documentation, so you can see how the CSV file is structured, or the data format, if there's some other EDI format or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there something we're missing now that we might want to know before starting?
Probably.
Yeah. How often should we send this message, or when should this message be triggered?
Yeah.
That's kind of crucial. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is it real time, or is it something you can do once enough every 24 hours?
And can we send the message multiple times, the same message, or do we need to make sure that we only send it once?
Also that, yes. Also that. Because the next time you send it isn't an update, or what is it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a few things to keep track on there. And if we missed something, our viewers, I'm sure that they will add something in the comments below if we miss something in our list here, so we can make a totally complete list, integration checklist that we can check off when we do integration next time.
Yeah, the one, just like the pilots have it, you know,
yeah,
before they take lift off. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We should do an interface in the ticket system or something. This is an integration ticket. Okay, check these things before you begin the tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yes. Actually, yes. But you know, that sort of leads up to another discussion entirely,
Okay.
which is about when you're doing these projects here, how much is a creative process and how much is something that you just know you have to do.
Oh yeah, I think that's in integration parts. It's mostly about you do what you have to do. There's very little creative part in that one. But I think we could save that for a different episode. All right.
Let's do that then.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yep. Well then.
Bye. Bye for now.
See you next week.